What's up, you beautiful Redditors? Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. Welcome to the RNEWS Morning Show. And let's just jump into it. From r/politics. 4 years later, senators say, yes, Trump conspired with the Russians. Senate Russian report proves that Senate Republicans knew Trump had committed treason when they refused to even hear evidence in his impeachment trial. Traitors, one and all. You're watching the RNEWS Show. From r/politics. We shouldn't have to remind people George W. Bush was a terrible president. The campaign to normalize the George W. Bush presidency is part of a broader campaign to separate the Republican Party from Donald Trump. We should call Bush what he is: a war criminal abroad and a villain at home. He just endorsed Susan Collins. That should be enough of a reminder where he stands. That fact that his endorsement isn't a toxic albatross heavy enough to sink her campaign is a damning indictment of the Republican Party. Bush was the worst conceivable president in my lifetime until Trump came around. There is definitely a difference of standards between the two, but they're both Republican, they're both GOP, they are both symptoms of the same disease. Grover Norquist bears so much of the responsibility of the climate of non-compromising. Saying he's better than Trump isn't normalizing it. It's admitting how absolutely bonkers this orange moron's reign of terror is. It's so bad that George freaking W. Bush's admin seems nostalgic in comparison. You're watching the RNEWS Show. From r/news. Activists find camera inside mysterious box on power pole near union organizer's home. We found out it's a surveillance camera that belongs to Memphis police. What business is it of the Memphis police if a citizen advocates for workplace unionization and a federal minimum wage of $15? How are these law enforcement issues? None. But we have a long history of this. en.wikipedia.org. This country is all about unchecked capitalism. The police, at all levels, are controlled by elected officials. And those elected officials are typically in office because of powerful corporations. So anti-union activities by state actors are the inevitable outcome. I think the rich in America try to make the poor racist, so they blame minorities instead of corporations. The only division that matters is between the rich and the poor. And the rich spend a lot of money making sure the poor think the divisions are on race, religion, or nationality. Me. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. LBJ. Your quote from LBJ sent me down a wormhole. Thanks, www. Washington Postcom. Yep, keep the commoners squabbling amongst themselves so they don't go for the nobility. I think that's why the CIA killed off any chance for communism. It's why JFK, MLK and others were assassinat road. You're watching the RNEWS Show. From r/politics. The worst president. 95-year-old Republican World War II veteran says he regrets voting for Trump and now backs Biden. How do you fight Nazis and then vote for one? How do you serve in 2 wars then vote in a draft dodger that insults a POW survivor? The real answer is that he wasn't fighting Nazis because he was against Nazism, but because he was told Nazis were a threat to his country, and he wanted to protect it. If he had been told puppies were going to invade the US, he would have killed them too. That's being patriotic. With Trump, patriotic meant protecting the US from immigrants. The common thread is the fear of others, regardless of the specific group. Can we all agree that when you elect a guy who is on his 3rd marriage, due to repeated adultery, banged at least ~2 porn stars, one while his 3rd wife was pregnant, was caught on tape talking about sexually assaulting women, whether or not it was in jest, your party no longer gets to get up on a high horse about moral issues ever again. Edit. Adjusted 3 porn stars to 2, only counting the ones that received payoffs as confirmed. Edit 2. Many were taking issue with the first bullet point. No, I do not think having multiple marriages is immoral. I do think anyone on their 3rd, 4th, 5th marriage likely has some issues, but the reason I listed it here was because of the adultery that led to the multiple marriages. www.reuters.com NY Postcom. You're watching the RNEWS Show. From r/World News. Germany is beginning a universal basic income trial with individuals getting $1,400 a month for 3 years. The bulk of Australians are on something similar during COVID lockdown. Should have some pretty good data on it by the end of the year. Really? Did they receive this monthly or was it just a one-off thing? Genuine question. I'm very interested in the data. $1,500 AUD every fortnight. About equal to min wage IIRC. No, we aren't. Not whole Germany, only those who win it in a lottery. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/news. Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist Jack Sherman dies aged 64. I always forget about the complex history of the RHCP. The release of Californication was the first time they'd had more studio albums than Guitarists. Jesus' list of RHCP members is a separate Wikipedia page. It's also weird because despite having such a long list of members, I feel like when someone says RHCP we all think of the same 4 members who are still part of it today. Kiedis, Flea, and Will Ferrell are the ones I think of. Edit John Frusciante. Never forget John Frusciante. 64. He can't be 64. I remember seeing them at Reading in '94. Oh right. Jack Sherman was only the Chili Peppers guitarist for their first album in 1984, and he wrote some songs for the second one in 1985 and then he quit. The guitarist you saw at Reading was Dave Navarro, who is also the guitarist for Jane's Addiction. So good news. The guitarist you saw that day is still alive. They've had many guitarists throughout their existence. Thanks for the reality check, bruv. Guess I should check on my retirement now. However, Sherman went on to contribute to the group's future albums. The Abbey Road EP and Mother's Milk. Is the EP special? I don't remember that far back, maybe, and it's not listed on Wikipedia. And that's where we're going to end today's show. But if you like what you saw, leave a like, and if you want to see more of the RNEWS show, hit that subscribe button. As always, this has been the RNEWS show and I'll see you tomorrow.